Just last week, I was trying on suits for my upcoming wedding. And I'm going to be honest, there was a brief moment where my cortisol definitely spiked. Weddings are amazing, and trust me, they can also be expensive, like really expensive. But that moment got me thinking about something that I've been seeing just about everywhere lately, and it's cortisol. Everyone seems to be talking about it. Everyone is trying to lower it. Everyone is hunting it down like it's the enemy. And while cortisol, absolutely matters from a stress hormone standpoint, I think we're starting the conversation in the wrong place. Because cortisol isn't usually the problem, it's the symptom of a problem. Over the last month or so, we've been exploring the idea of stress from a few different angles. We talked about stress in macro and how many people are carrying stress about what's happening in the world, even when most of what they're worried about is completely outside of their sphere of influence. We also talked about stress in micro, how everyday events can trigger disproportionate reactions that have very little to do with what's actually happening in the moment. And we talked about physiological stress, how sleep, nervous system regulation, and lifestyle can become sources of chronic activation all on their own. Today's conversation builds on all three of those because eventually every discussion about stress seems to arrive at the same place: cortisol. And when I hear people talking about cortisol, they're looking at solutions through supplements, protocols, different devices, and maybe the newest biohacks. But my first question is always the same: what is creating the cortisol in the first place? Because if we don't answer that, we're just treating symptoms. If we really want to optimize hormones and decrease stress, hormones like cortisol, it truly starts with lifestyle. And even more specifically, it starts with state management through self. Most people's cortisol levels have a direct correlation to emotional mismanagement. They're spending large portions of the day in fear-based states like anxiety, overwhelm, guilt, shame, resentment, and worry. And when those states become chronic, the body responds. That's what cortisol is responding to. Not just what happened, but how we're relating to what happened. This is where I start before buying any other supplement, before ordering another device, before starting another protocol. Become aware of your emotional state. Develop sensitivity to what you're actually feeling. Can you identify when you're in a sympathetic nervous system response, fight or flight? You're experiencing fear or stress. Or when you're in a parasympathetic state, like peace or joy, compassion. Are you breathing deeply and fully? Is the body relaxed? Is there inspiration in terms of what you're feeling? Most people don't realize how much time they're spending activated, overstimulated. And if you're activated all day long, your body is going to respond accordingly. No supplement can compensate for a nervous system that never gets a chance to rest. And in my experience, this accounts for about 80% of the issue as it pertains to cortisol. When people learn how to manage emotion, a lot of the cortisol problems start resolving itself. Once emotional management starts improving, the next thing to look at is your biorhythm. Are you going to bed at roughly the same time every night? Are you waking up at roughly the same time every morning? Because if your sleep schedule is constantly shifting, your hormones don't have a stable rhythm to work from. Your body can't regulate properly. And when your body can't regulate properly, everything becomes harder, including emotional management. These things aren't separate, they all work together, they're all intercorrelated. Then we want to look at food. What are you eating? When are you eating? Is your body getting what it actually needs? Not from a trendy perspective, from a physiological perspective. Because food is information, and your body is responding to it every single day. Then we want to look at something most people completely overlook, which is technology. Screens, blue light, phones, Instagram, television, computers if you're stimulating your brain late into the evening. Your body never gets the signal that it's time to wind down. And if the body doesn't wind down, then stress hormones are going to stay elevated. Again, lifestyle before protocols. Lifestyle before supplementation, lifestyle before gadgets. Last weekend at Reset, we spotted a moose, and it reminded me of something interesting. Animals have this figured out. They're in a parasympathetic response state most of the time until there's an actual threat, and then they mobilize. They run, they fight, they make sure they're going to survive, and once the threat is gone, they immediately go back to resting and relaxing, back to grazing, back to just being. The moose isn't stressed about email, it's not worried about what someone said on social media, it's not replaying a conversation from 3 weeks ago. It's not wondering whether its former mate is happier with another moose. It responds to real threats. Then it immediately recovers. Humans often do the opposite. We create physiological responses to psychological threats that aren't real. And then we tend to get caught there. We stay there, sometimes for hours, days, weeks, even months or years. Now, I'm not against supplements. I'm not against testing. I'm not against technology. They are absolutely helpful. And there are times when they are very, very useful. But if you're not willing to make the lifestyle adjustments first, then nothing is really going to change, because cortisol is usually just the messenger. It's your body saying something is out of alignment and we need to pay attention. And most of the time, the first place to look isn't outside of yourself. It's truly inside. The goal isn't to eliminate stress. The goal is to become competent at managing your state. Because when you do that, you don't just improve cortisol, you improve your energy, your clarity, your relationships, your health, and ultimately your overall quality of life. Everything gets easier, not because the world changed, but because you did. Your ability to manage and respond to the world has evolved. If you'd like to engage with this work in different formats, you can also find the connection fix on the blog or on the podcast. Some people like to sit with it, others like to take it on a walk. However you train best, please use that method. Before we wrap, if cortisol is a symptom, what might it be trying to tell you? Is it pointing to emotional patterns, sleep habits, nutrition, maybe overuse of technology? Or is it something else entirely? If you're willing, please drop it in the comments, or as always, you can send me an email. I read all of your responses. Where do you think your biggest opportunity is right now? Awareness is where change begins. More soon. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.